So my mother noticed that the town recycling center was doing an electronics waste day, and so me and her decided to go over there to see if there's anything free to be had. You guys already know what happened next. Well, I think we should start with testing these monitors. Got an old 1960s TV chassis. Now, it occurred to me only after we left that the rest of the parts were probably there. They probably stripped this down, so I probably could have had an old TV. I've been wanting an old TV like this forever, and this is the oldest one I've found so far. It's amazing how hard it is to find an old one. Got a random power supply, a defibrillator, a little portable one, 6 VCRs, a battery backup system, so that's pretty cool, and a junky old charger. Now, they cut the wires off of everything because they don't want to have a legality where somebody gets something from them and they hurt themselves and have to sue them or whatever. So they cut the things off everything. But this was dropped off while I was there, and so I got to keep it before the cord got cut off. So that can be pretty cool. I also got some random cables and whatnot. Oh, so they have an agreement with the town that they cannot give away any of the computers. But I asked, and they were fine with giving me all the laptop battery packs. So I got about 10 or so of those too. You know, on second thought, this TV had a tube brightener on it, so the screen is probably going out anyway, so it probably wouldn't have worked. I still would have loved to have it in one piece. I think the bezel, or whatever it's called, is pretty cool. I should keep that for sure. But yeah, let's start with the LCDs. Let's start with this one that has questionable marks on it. Looks like it might be fine. On to the next one. Kind of makes you wonder why this front is off. Most likely it is bad. I'm not seeing anything. Once again, that looks fine. Yeah, I'm not noticing any real definite signs that this is bad, so these ones might be perfectly fine. Well, not perfectly fine, but good enough. Perfectly free. There we go. They're perfectly free. This one's a bit dimmer. But once again, I'm not seeing any like lines through the screen, so that's good. So it looks like these might be usable. I'll probably give one to my mother for her to have a second monitor to have YouTube on or whatever while she's gaming. And then the other ones, I can use those for whatever. I might set up a computer in the shed or in the basement. Oh, I hear the fan going inside of here. Most likely the batteries are dead, but that's not bad because I can just put lithium-ion cells in here, most likely. It looks like a storm's rolling in, so let's take the fun inside. So I opened up the first one, hooked the power cable up to it, and it's only seeming to display blue, which is kind of weird, but it did come with a VHS tape and a DVD. Grown-ups, and I couldn't get any video to play from the VCR side when I did this one, Hollow Man AFB, and I also tried my copy of the Temple of Doom and that didn't work, so I'd say this is pretty fucked. Now really the only thing I'm interested in, well besides some of these belts, because these actually might come in handy for older VCRs, are the read-write heads, and I think I can easily get them out just by cutting the metal that connects them, because otherwise I'd have to pretty much fully disassemble the VCR. When I first opened up this VCR, this head was actually locked solid, and I had to crunch it free. I'm thinking there's some bearing damage because it wobbles. And it makes a weird clicking sound when you turn it. In all honesty, I'm really only after the read-write heads because I can use them. Actually, I'm going to see about using them as the bearings for gyroscopes. I think they're pretty cool. Any of the metal covers I'll save for electrolysis electrodes. Oh yeah, that one's perfect. And it looks like it's, yeah, it looks like it's the exact same like design, but except for this one moves. The bearing must be dead on that one, but this one is really nice and strong. Looks like there's a cheese puff stuck in there. Yuck. Oh yeah, much better. This one has some corrosion and bearing damage, it seems. Looks like this thing got wet. Whoa, that's different. Nope, that's not gonna work. Can't even load a VHS tape. And lastly, we have this old one from 1988. If this one works, it would be kind of cool to keep. Oh, this circuit part over here is badly fractured, so it most likely has been dropped really hard. Yeah, that's some bad cracking. Doesn't look like it broke any important traces though, so that's good. Oh. I'm not going to rip this apart just yet. I think I'm going to see about trying to fix it, because it is kind of cool. I ended up getting 4 identical read-write heads. I can definitely use these, and having them identical will be very good for the gyroscope I want to build with them. Might be able to build 2, although this one's a bit wobbly, so make sure that doesn't cause any issues at high speed. Also have this other one that's a dissimilar design, but can still use it for something. Might actually still work. Yeah. Picked up some drive belts and this funky little blue motor coil. Next we have that battery backup system. All this water does not fill me with confidence. Oh. So this is a 24 volt system. That's pretty cool. There is a little bit of moisture on some things, although not too much on the inside, but I'm still going to let it dry out for a little bit. I'm very happy to see that it uses a 24-volt lead-acid battery. This means that I can very easily upgrade it to lithium-ion. 12 volts, 7.2 amp hour, so both together that'd be 24 volts, 7.2 amp hour. So I should be able to fit 6 by 8 or so in that space of these 18650 cells. If they're all about 1500 milliamp hours, which some can go up to 2500 milliamp hours, then let's just still say 1500, because I wouldn't be putting my best cells into this. That would be, well, one row, 12 amp hours at 24 volts instead of 7.5 amp hours. So almost double, and that's even with really bad lithium cells. So I let this sit overnight to dry out, and it's dried out nicely, although it wasn't too wet to begin with. But one thing I noticed was that these aren't really heat sinks. They're solid blocks of aluminium, so basically they're like thermal capacitors. It's kind of interesting, but it makes sense because I guess this circuit's only supposed to work in the event of an emergency, when it has to back up the power in like a power outage or whatever. But I guess I just never really thought about that. I never really thought about just having a big chunk of aluminium. And I'm kind of wondering like how long this would last. And if I ever did want to use one of these things for like an inverter for an off-grid setup thing, like experiment, then I'd probably have to replace these or put a fan on them or something. So here we have a 24 volt, 24 amp hour lithium ion battery. I'm pretty sure I can just hook it up. Yep. Turn off, for fuck's sake. Okay. Okay. 8.7 volts. 10.02 volts. I could probably salvage them and get a little bit of power from them. But I honestly just don't feel like messing with lead acid batteries anymore, so I'll find something else for that. And then someday in the future, I will modify this to run off of lithium batteries. And then we got this little Sears charger. 6 volt and 12 volt, 30, 60, 200 amps. It'll be kind of interesting. Might just be a big diode that I could use on my welder. Ooh. Some real big diodes down here. If this is a diode, then I should be able to test it with my multimeter. Or maybe it's a fuse. That's interesting. Strange. 12 volts, 40 amps. There's no other markings on them. I just realized there's this component right here. That might be a diode, and that's on the AC side. So evidently, this might be feeding half an AC signal to this transformer, that like pulse DC basically. And so these might just be like circuit breakers or momentary fuses or whatever it'd be called. I'm not sure. I just realized I could have had this light right here. It would have made it so much nicer. It's humming. $18 volts. Interesting. Oh, wow. 20 volts. 21 volts, and it buzzes a lot louder. So it seems to be working pretty well, although I didn't really expect it to break because these are such simple designs. There's not much way to go wrong with them. They're just a transformer, a diode, and a switch, pretty much. I'm not really sure what I'm going to use it for, so I'm not going to go much further right now. I'll leave the power cable on there, but I'm not going to bother adding any cables to the ends because I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it. I might use this to power my arc torch, maybe with just thinner graphite leads, but I'm not really sure. I'm thinking if I crank it all the way up to 200 amps, I should definitely have enough power to at least run the arc torch a little bit. And now into the old TV. It's really cool. I definitely want to keep this front metal, what was it, bezel? That thing. So the first thing that stands out to me, and the first thing I want to keep, is this. It's a tube brightener, which this is the first one I've actually found in a TV, although I haven't found that many old TVs. So older TVs had issues with their filaments. So the CRT is basically just a big electron tube. At the back is a filament that shoots the electrons out of it, and those are what hit the front screen to light it up. Well, after a while, the older CRTs would get an oxide coating on the filament so they wouldn't make the screen as bright. It wouldn't put out as much electrons. And so they would use these to increase the voltage and get a few more years of brightness out of the TV. And since this was in this TV, I'd probably guess that this TV probably burned out because they just drove it too hard with this. From what I know, using these limits the lifespan even more. It's kind of like a last-ditch effort just to get like another year or so or whatever out of the TV until you finally burn up the filament. But yeah, I definitely want to keep this part. And the other thing that sticks out is the first thing that I was trying to get. So I'm the one that ruined this. Like, this was in the dumpster, all kind of fine, but it was buried, and all I saw was this. So I started pulling that, but then I realized it was attached to a whole other thing, so I just grabbed the whole thing and dug that out. Let's see, okay. Big flyback transformer, very old one. Yeah. I'm not very much into high voltage electricity, so this flyback transformer won't be very useful for me at all, really. But I've heard some people say that they're actually really good for high voltage projects, and they're very kind of hard to find. So I want to save it because maybe someday in the future I can trade it with somebody that could use it. Because I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there that likes high voltage stuff. I'm more for high current stuff, but oh well. Oh. This one might be dead. Looks like they used like beeswax or something and it's dripped out of it. That's odd. Now normally I would just rip out all of these electron tubes and whatnot and oh, that's weird. Like a little, I have no clue, a little capacitor. But usually I would rip out these little electron tubes and stuff like that and save them. But I have too many of them as it is. I have an entire TV repair kit, an entire tube caddy full of old tubes and some other boxes of them. So I don't really need any more tubes. And a lot of this stuff is either too old to use or actually, that was kind of cool. That's kind of neat. So I would normally rip some pieces out and probably keep this, and it would be coloring up my shed. But it's occurred to me I could just kind of leave this like it is now and leave some of the tubes in there. And I wonder if I stick this in my antique store booth, if I could sell it. Maybe sell it for like $4. That'd be kind of cool. Because I bet someone will probably buy it just for the tubes. But yeah, I mean, I have too much of this old stuff as it is. I only want to keep a few little interesting bits that I haven't found yet. Although, I don't know. I think I'm going to see about trying to use this for some kind of like console computer thing. Like imagine I can fit an LCD in here, probably touch panel, and then fit a little like Raspberry Pi in here and have a, or maybe like an Intel NUC or something, I don't know, we can figure that out. And yeah, I could have a vintage looking computer system. It'll only be like a couple inches thick. And I don't know, it's like, this is really cool. Well, here's another idea. I could just put a simple white screen behind it, and I could have my projector always lined up with it. So that would be my 16mm projection screen up against the wall. That'd be kind of cool. And lastly, we have a nice little helping of miscellaneous crap. 1, 2, 8 free laptop batteries, so that's definitely worth my time. Yeah, not really anything useful in here. So we grab a black wire and a green wire, I think. .6 of a volt. Yeah, that's a bit dead. Well, it was worth a shot. Whoops. That is not worth saving. Wow, that is really fucked up. That is just so bad. I say it's the fault of the manufacturers and of whoever owned this computer. Although, then again, sometimes computers can be in places where you just never check, like, and maybe in like industrial environments, but I don't know. You would probably hear this going bad before it went that bad, though. This is my useful computer cable bin. This is where I keep all cables that I deem to be useful for like the actual intended purpose. I'll probably put these SCSI cables in like a vintage computer box because I'm not going to be using this very often. Okay, so here is the last dosh, you know. Well, I mean, I could do the LCD screens, but the LCD screens seem to work and they're LCDs, monitors, so yeah. Well, anyway, this will be the last one. So it's the Heart Start. Is this a Leerdal Heart Start? A Leerdal? Leerdal? I don't know. Let's go order. Heart Start 3000 QR Leerdal Defibrillator. I would think that would be the company though, so it'd be the Leerdal Heart Start 3000 QR Defibrillator. I don't know. Fuck it. They got their logo all messed up. But it also comes with a little cartridge. Semi-automatic medical control module. This is dated. Oh, it doesn't have a date. Never mind. I figured that would have a date on it. Well, it was last tested in 2003 and due in 2004, so it hasn't been used in a very long time. This is supposed to be battery powered. It says HAAS on here. I'm not sure what that means, but I would imagine that this probably is meant to be in like an ambulance or something like that. Now these are pretty fragile. Like the front piece broke off just when I was picking it up, so it should be pretty easy to get to the battery. Whoa, This is very fragile, oh my god. Let's try 16 volts. Nope, nope. Something's burning right there. Well, that's pretty much it. This is definitely worth its own video, I think, because there should be a speech synthesizer chip inside there and some, well, most likely high voltage electronics, maybe some big capacitors. That'd be kind of cool. And judging by how fragile it is, maybe I could throw it off the roof of the shed and have it shatter on the concrete. That'd be kind of cool. Well, I'm going to spend some time putting all this other stuff away, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. See ya!